using these Art Impressions TriFold stamps. It is Shops, and the order number is 4339 if you're interested. And we are going to do a TriFold card using VersaFine for the stamps, and I'll be using some clear embossing powder. And I got my watercolor pens that I can fill up with water, and I just chose one of them, but you can use your paint brushes, whatever works for you that you use. My Tim Holtz measuring ruler that has the centering line, because you'll need that when you go to do the TriFold card. And here's my Gamsay Tambi watercolors. I love them. And on the outside of the lid, that is my set right here for my Derwent Inktense pencils came in. And I took those out because I like to put them in dishes, big containers. And then I grabbed some acetate and I put all of the colors from the booklet you get. I cut out the round circles, put it on the acetate, and put that acetate on top of the actual watercolors. And then on the lid, I stamped circles all the way across. See there? That's a stamp on watercolor paper. And then I put the number and the color on the watercolor stamped image so I get a true color when I go to paint. Because generally you're using watercolor paper. Here I did not use watercolor paper. I used a standard, I used my 120-pound cardstock from Michaels, but it held up nicely for watercoloring. And here I'm taking the friction pen. I have a set of 24 of these colors of the friction pen, and they erase just like a pencil. And I used the baby blue so I could see it. So you're going to want to stamp on each end and make sure you look at the package to make sure that you have the shop all set up properly. Because when you fold it, the right will be on the left and the left will be on the right, if that makes any sense. When you turn this over, you'll see exactly what I mean. As I was looking at it, I thought, there's something about this I think I need to know, and that was it. I grabbed the mounting set there of the stamps, and I turned it around, and there was all the instructions. Now, I changed up the size of the card base, but because I didn't realize till after it had the instructions on the back, so I just did my own, and I am fussy cutting here. And I don't mind fussy cutting, but you're going to need to do this to give it a really nice look on your card when you close it. And I'm telling you, this was so enjoyable. It really was. See, there it is on the one side. And I'm showing you here with the A2 size card on top that I'm going to score little 1/8 of an inch score marks on each side so it folds nicely, which means you're going to have to adjust the front, and I'll show you there in a minute, because you want to close it like perfect. So that's what I did. So it's 1/8 of an inch scored in on each side, and there it closes up on your card. You can see how I set that in. Now I grabbed my friction pen, and I want to put magnets inside here, so when it closes it clips on the magnet. So I just grabbed some paper that I like, and I grabbed the friction pen and traced it out, and now I'm just fussy cutting so it covers the magnets on the inside when you open it up. And I did it blue because the blue will just carry on from the sky that I paint in. And here I'm just taking my Copic marker and trimming around the edges so it doesn't look stark white. And I'm going to stick it in my embossing powder just so I don't get my hands dirty and it doesn't carry that black ink. I took some blue and I took some gray of the Distress inks, and I just went around this paper. I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to have some definition, some texture. And now we're going to carry on. And so I'm fussy cutting the paper, just holding it. It's so, it's so small, you don't need to tape it down. So there you go. I got the colors ready, and it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it in the end. And the only reason I did this, remember, is to have the magnets inside. I didn't want you to be able to see the magnets when you open up the TriFold card. So I'm putting these away, And we're going to get started here. Wash your hands. Oh yes, I'm getting used to that now that I'm making some clean and simple cards. So I've got my workspace all cleaned with a paper towel, and I'm going to move forward on the trifold part. Oh, I just noticed I wanted to take a little piece off there. So I set that there to make sure it was ready to put some glue on, but I realized I had to set it aside because I need to put the magnets on there. Yeah, and everybody makes fun of me because I buy everything in two, but I ran out of the Tombow Multi, and I took my micro brushes. I showed that in the camera because I forgot what they were, and I've worked with those in dentistry for years. Hello, my profession, and I couldn't even remember the name of them. How funny is that? But I used that to push it out to the edge because sometimes you get blobs of that glue, and I don't like that. So I just use the micro brushes, and here I am going to set the magnet on there, and I will on my blog tell you if I can remember where I got these on the internet, but they are so flat. That's what I liked about them. I put a glue dot on there, and I'm picking it up. There we go. It had a little bit of piece of paper on there on the actual magnet, so I had to redo it. Grab the magnet, and then I'm going to do it to both sides. And what you do is you just set the one magnet on the other magnet, close it, and you'll have the exact position. Have the glue dot ready on the other side so when you close it, it snaps on. So here I'm taking some more of the Tombow Multi, my micro brush, and running it out to the edges. It's easier to have the micro brush take it to the edge than to glob it. I'd rather have more in the center than on the edges. So I'm going to cover up these magnets with this 6x6 paper. It's Stampin' Up! Christmas paper, believe it or not. And I just grabbed a block to set on top until it dried. And now I'm making some round circles on here with my foam square because I only want it dimensionally raised, the thickness of this foam square. So I cut it out, and then I'm going to put some 2.5 inch tape runner on the back, my adhesive runner, so that it covers the back of this wonderful foam that you get at the dollar store. See how now it snaps? And I'll put the foam on right there with my Suquang tape, 2.5 inches, and this stuff sticks, let me tell you, so be prepared. And now I took the backing off, and I'm going to set that over top of the magnets. Oh yes, love these paints. Once you paint with these, you are going to think they are remarkable compared to some paints on the market. I love them. So I needed to have a thicker brush to put my grass and my sky down. So I grabbed a thick brush and a nice fine point tipped water brush. And I added some water. And oh, what I'm showing you there is when I put those in the containers, I put that that two-sided furry stuff, you know, that grabs a hold of your whatever you're sticking down so that I can just take them out, but I can move that container around and it's not moving. That'll come to me in a bit, and I'll jump in and tell you what they were. Velcro. Yes, the Velcro. So now I have a piece of acetate, just plain acetate on the left side there. You can't see all of the paints, but I wanted you to enjoy the process of painting. It is truly the most relaxing and rewarding art form, I think, next to my Copics. Yes, but these Gansei Tambi watercolors are marvelous, and I loved this set. So I go from the tray to the actual color palettes to the mixture that I mixed up here, and I have 2 and 3 and 4 different shades to the left there that I put on the acetate. And now I'm just going to take some out with my baby wipe, and I have to be very careful here because this is not, it's only 120-pound cardstock. It is not watercolor based. And so through the whole thing, I had to remember that. Not watercolor. So you have to make sure that the consistency of water you put down is not really wet. So here I'm forming the clouds that I want, because when it dries, it pretty well dries true to the color that you put down, but you just want to be careful there. And I think at the end when you see it, they came up really nice clouds on there around this little shop. Just loved it. And then I took 3 or 4 different colors of the shades of green. I started out with more of a turquoise, or the lightest green that you get in the set there. It's a wonderful shade. I'll post it on my blog. And then I come in with all different greens. So you'll see it throughout me going through the process here, all of the different shades that I bring into play. So now I'm going to go in and just get some detail done with the fine tip, going in with some 4 different colors on those teensy trees. Honestly, it looks tedious when you look at this to paint, but if you have an evening and you just want to relax and practice with your painting, it's beautiful. And I think the next time on the well, it's hard to fold your watercolor paper, right? That's why I chose not to use it. But if I do this set again, which I will, I'm going to use watercolor paper, because then I can put down more water, obviously, than I was able to do here. But being that it was intricate, that's why I chose the 120-pound cardstock, because I knew it would hold up, because I'm only using little bits of water on the shop here. And then another thing I want to tell you while you're watching me color is close the 2 sides when you go to stamp, because this set, it runs, see how on the left side down lower, it is not even with the top. So you're going to have to kind of slant your stamped image. So before I stamped this middle section, I stamped it on a separate sheet of paper that was the same size I was using here, so that I could get the alignment properly for the town. It is over to the left just a tad, and I just caution you to make sure that you stamp it first before you put it on the piece that you're going to color, and that way you won't have any mishaps. So I'm taking 2 or 3 color of the browns and oranges. I mix them up together to get all different shades, and I try to give it depth and texture as I'm going. And I come back quite a bit, actually, to I set the base first when I color. I go around. And another good thing, if you're beginning to watercolor, and I did it too, is I place that art impression stamp right in front of me. Because if I, all of a sudden think, oh, what should I color this? Like, I just look up and I see what they did, what the designer colored it, and it moves the process a little quicker. And it had some nice reds in the doors and in some of the valances hanging over the doors. And I just mixed it up. Have a piece of acetate cut next to you for your mixing, because it does come in handy to mix your colors. And then in all these teensy weensy little windows, I put shades of blue that you're looking in the window, and I left it blue and white. I only put them in certain sections of the window, so it looked like light was shining in. I think they all went to the left, if I'm right. Just did some half moons in the windows. And when you see my pen raised up straight in the air like that, like it was just a little bit ago, that's when I want more detail. I want to use the end of that brush to the best of its ability to get in the tiny spaces there. And now I wanted to show you I let it dry a bit. That's why I'm coming back. And you saw that my palette of acetate, because I don't like having a lot of, a paint holder and a lot of bulk where I'm painting. I like my hand to be freed up. And so on the right side, I have my Gansé Tambi watercolors and my palette of acetate on the left. So if I want a deep, deep color that I don't have to mix, I go directly into my watercolors on the right. And I put an eyedropper there. And I grabbed an eyedropper and I just put colors in, water, in all the watercolor trays beside me. And they dry fine. I've used them over and over and over again. I love to sit and watercolor with these. They're marvelous. And when you see at the end of just this middle section here, I took my time, and literally it took, a wee bit of time to sit there, but I got so engulfed in watercoloring this image and just found it. I say it over and over again, but watercoloring is therapy. It is, it gives you a sense of relaxation like nothing else. I did my Copics. I'll have to use those too, because I practice with those a lot more than I do my watercoloring. But watercoloring is pretty tops. It's up there. Because it's not, watercoloring gives you leverage. Can I say that word? It is not exact. You can add water and let those colors run. You could dab into them like I did there. Here I'm adding some brown and black mixed together. Very seldom do I put a direct color like a bold black. I just leave that to see how the water's going to drag that out on the bottom before I go back in. And now I'm just going in and I'm mixing some green and blue. And that's the beauty of watercolors. If you don't like it, you just squeeze your watercolor pen out and you start again. So when you see that old pen going to the right, I'm grabbing direct color. If you see it go to the left, it's where I mixed a lot of colors up. I might have at least 14 different shades on that. And as you saw, I drag my pen so I don't have, when you're doing detail, you don't want to have a lot of water. So I have a paper towel in my left hand ready to just pounce on the water if it starts to drag itself into a piece of the stamped image I don't want it to be in. So there's, let me see, there's I think 3 other sets that are trifold sets. And I thought I'd start out with the one before I bought the others. And I am going to get the other sets when I'm over at my craft store because they are amazing. I love making this trifold card. Yeah, so here I'm going back in with the blue. When you watercolor and it dries, you see so much that you need to correct. You need to add water, like on the top right sky there where it's dark. I come in and I eliminate that deep color, but you have to wait till it dries to get the true texture that it produces, especially, and I'm going to say this again, not on watercolor paper. And at the bottom of this image of this wonderful image of this shop, it's a whole lot of shops, and this looks like an inn that you stay in, and it has some shops on the right. See how I'm trying to take that out up there? Sorry for my arm, but I wanted to make it like fluffy clouds. So I thought, okay, I'll take my heat tool and my water at the same time and drag it. So I was finished there, and I moved my piece here and put my watercolor acetate to the right. This is new acetate. I'm making up different colors here because I had so many colors in the last acetate. I was running my hand, my arm was hitting them. So I just switched over and I used a new piece of acetate here. So here you go. And they're very challenging because on this one, you're looking at it sideways kind of. But if you look at the lower section towards me here, that's the steps going up. And then it has a hanging plant and a light post that I'm doing right now. And I'm just adding it so it looks the blue, so it looks like it's on. The light is on. And I went around this piece after with black Copic and I set it with embossing powder so that when I went in with my watercolors, nothing was going to take that crisp black edge off of the actual fussy cut part here. I want it to look crisp and neat. So although watercolor is not crisp and neat, it has a look all of its own that I like. And you can change up color too, by the way. You can come in with your water. If you notice on here, I will change up that awning that is hanging over. That's what I'm painting right now. It's an awning. And I go in with all kinds of reds and purples and greens in those hanging plants. And this is not, my camera is not focusing properly. I apologize for that. So you get a crisp image. I'm going to switch over my cameras when I do detailed cards, I think, and try my other one because this is not holding up to the crispness that I'd like to have. I also think I need to add another lamp in my room, a hanging somehow lamp over. I'm not getting enough light. And I have 4 lights going on there just over my work surface, but it doesn't seem to be enough power for some reason. So anyway, let's get back to the painting. Make sure on the stairs, if you get this set, that right on the side of the stairs, when you close it, that's going to be on the green portion of the lawn. That's why it is green behind there and not blue, because the blue is up higher and the green is down lower when you close this. That's what I envision. As I'm painting this, I look up at my image that's set in front of me, and then I realize that, oh, when I close this, that's going to be green, not blue, green. So I just kept coloring and working all of these colors. I was working those flowers. I wanted to have a lot of dimension in there, so they just stood out. And I've got this sped up quite a bit. So it took me a while. It took me a lot of takes to get all this in. But now that I have this editing thing down, well, I don't have it down, but I'm working on it. I just love it. You know, because I can do a lot. So here you go. I had Post-it. Oh, yes. Put this Post-it a little late, but better late than never, right? Put Post-it. See how I have it on there taped? So your watercolors don't run off. But I ended at the end. See this back portion? That's going to be the back of your card. I ended up putting a piece over that, right? That folds down. So if you get a little bit on there, it's not going to make any difference. And you will see at the end. So here I'm adding some gray to my greens on the bottom and some browns actually in the green, so that it just, I don't know, I just like the look of it. And this is a really pretty scene. I'm sorry I don't have it all in the actual frame, but yeah, it's fun. Look at that. It has a lot of detail, but I'm going to tell you, you will enjoy doing detail if you like to paint or watercolor or use your Inktense pencils, your Prismas, whatever you do. I just like the fact that watercolor is, I don't know, gives you some give. You don't have to have it perfected. It just has a way of making you happy when you watercolor. There's nothing around it. So I'm almost finished, and I'm going to be putting the card base on. And see, that wasn't that bad. When you look at the stamps, you think, ooh, I don't know if I want to color that much. But if you're like me, I just love to color, period. I could just sit and color. So here is some of the gray that I made out of the white and the black. And when you close this, you will see that I did take out that harshness there. I don't know if I show it right here, but I'm going now and catching all the detail, and then we're going to be finished. Not bad. And my palette now is above my head there. I changed it for this one because I had to put the other piece underneath my watercolors there. So here you have it. I'm putting it on the base. That's the card that we did, and you don't put it on the sides there because you're folding that, right? And underneath this is the foam. Here's where I take out I just add water, and I take out all the rough lines, and I put a little bit of green on there. But anyway, so have a blessed day. Thank you for joining me through this long video. I appreciate it. And that is the shop set. Have fun with it. I know you will. There we go. I came back. this is what it looks like. The magnets, boink, just clip on. I love it. And look at how fresh and clean it looks. Oh yes. Now you can see the magnets a tad, but I mean you can't help that unless I put foam tape on that too. And I didn't want to have the huge bulk of it, so I'm just showing you how pretty this is. I'm going to do some more up. I really like this card. It just has a beauty to it, and I wanted to show you here the Gansei Tambi watercolors. And like I said, this case is my Inktense large set. I think it was 120 Inktense pencils. And then you get a booklet in with these watercolors, so I just cut out separately. Yeah, fussy cut all these circles out, put it on acetate, laid the acetate down. Then I took my lid and took two pieces of watercolor paper, and I glued it on top of the Inktense pencil box, and then I put acetate over top in case I wanted to mix colors right on top of that case. I'm going back to show you. I left some blank circles there so you can mix your own colors. Now here's the TriFold stamp set by Art Impressions. And thank you very much for joining me. I had such a fun time with this card. And I'm going to get the church scene next. It has a beautiful wedding church scene with a park bench, and it's just gorgeous. So I will be doing quite a few of these. I like it. I love the way when you do this and the magnet snap. I sat there opening it and closing it, and this is why you need the sides 1/8 of an inch. Score them 1/8 of an inch for the close. Have a blessed day. Thank you for joining me.